Hi everyone, I'm Reea and I've got a video for you today about sex with a narcissist. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, then you already know that the to and fro of your sexual relationship may not have exactly fit with the myths that are out there about sex in loving relationships. For instance, it's pretty much part of our culture that most people believe that men always want to have sex and women act as the gatekeepers for that sexual relationship. In other words, they get to say yes or no and decide when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. Now, if you're a woman who's been in a relationship with a narcissistic male, you already know that that probably wasn't the case, that you were not in control of when or where you had sex, and that it kind of felt at times like you were being controlled by your own sexual desire. If this is the first time you've tuned in to my YouTube channel, I'm Reea. I'm a life and relationship coach and a hypnotherapist, and I work exclusively with women, and a lot of the women I work with have been in relationship with narcissists. They have suffered childhood trauma, they are suffering from anxiety or complex post-traumatic stress disorder because of their relationship with others, and it's my job to help them. So this video is aimed at women. I am a woman who has had relationships with narcissistic men, and I've taken very exclusively from Sam Vaknin's work in his book on malignant narcissism. So I'm really talking about narcissistic males and their relationship with their women in most of the things I'm going to discuss today. The first thing you need to understand is that narcissistic males are misogynists. They don't like women, and they are going to express that misogyny towards you by making you either a Madonna or a whore. There's pretty much nothing in between. If they idolize you, they are going to make you into the Madonna, the Virgin Mother, the one up on the pedestal who cannot be touched. So they are not going to want to have sex with you when they are in that mode. Now, they may switch really quickly in the blink of an eye, and after you've probably done nothing, by the way, into calling you a slut and a whore and treating you like that. They actually probably sometimes want to have sex with the whore, but it depends on how stable their mood is and how long they can keep that going. Generally, when they've decided you're a whore, they're pretty damn nasty, they're abusive, they're violent, they can be scary, and you're probably not going to want to have sex with them when they're like that. So it's a very fine balancing act between the two things. But I think the core thing to take away is narcissistic men do not like women. Now, why would you want to be in a relationship with a man who doesn't like women? Good question. Now, misogynists don't like women because they don't like their mothers either. And so, unconsciously, to your narcissist, you are the mother, and he is trying to enact his revenge against the things he perceives his mother did to him by mistreating you. Sam Vaknin, in his book Malignant Narcissism, talks about two different sorts of narcissists. So there's a cerebral narcissist and a somatic narcissist. Now, somatic narcissists often use their sexuality to exploit people. So they can really lay that sexuality on thick when they choose to. Of course, that doesn't mean that they're not going to withdraw it and make you the Madonna and then not want to have sex with you. But they usually use that highly sexual self to gain narcissistic supply. So they'll use it in the love bombing phase of the relationship. They'll use it when they're idealizing you if you try to pull away from them. They might use it flirting with other women if they feel that you're not giving them sufficient attention and they need to get their supply needs met somewhere else. That doesn't mean to say that they're not going to go off sex, because the thing that happens with all narcissists is that they are actually afraid of women. So narcissists commonly intermittently reinforce their victims, and that may mean that they're highly sexual and want you one day and then don't want you for weeks afterwards. It's very common for them to run hot and cold. So you might find that in certain phases of their cycle or certain phases of their mood, they can be highly sexual and the sex could be great, but then they don't want to have sex with you for months on end after that and will avoid having sex with you at all costs. If you actually try and initiate sex with them, they can often be very ridiculing. They'll try and make you feel bad. You know, they use excuses like, I'm so tired, don't you know how hard I work? I don't have enough energy for this. You know, how dare you ask me to have sex with you? You could dress up in sexy lingerie and they would think nothing of rejecting you. You could put them in a big bubble bath and, you know, give them a massage or do any of the things that, you know, you do to get your partner in the mood, and still nothing. They can still reject you and humiliate you and make you feel quite bad. So to everyone else outside the relationship, it might look like you've got this sexy, attractive partner, and the actual fact of the matter is that you're in a situation where the sex waxes and wanes. And like I said, they might be highly sexual for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then for the next 2 or 3 months, no sex at all whatsoever. And that is really, really common. And so it's not you. But I mean, that's the thing that all women say to themselves, don't they? If my partner doesn't want to have sex with me, there must be something wrong. He must not find me attractive. I must be doing something wrong. He must not love me anymore. And that's usually what you'd think, but that's not necessarily the case. Just because the narcissist doesn't want to have sex with you does not mean that he wants to end the relationship. Narcissists, especially somatic narcissists, can be highly flirtatious and actually quite unfaithful outside of the relationship. The thing that enables them to be unfaithful outside the relationship is the fact that they have a partner at home and the person they're being unfaithful with knows that. So you could be married to a narcissist. He has a mistress or someone that he's seeing on the side. You probably didn't find that out until after the relationship broke down, by the way. He could have somebody on the side. It does not mean he's going to leave his wife for the mistress, because the reason that he's able to have the mistress is because he has the safety and security of a wife or partner at home. In fact, quite common for narcissists to be in that situation. They break up with a wife and then they don't end up going off with the mistress anyway, because that was never their intention, but of course the mistress thinks that they will. Sam Vaknin says that narcissists are actually drug addicts, but their drug of choice is adulation, adoration, and attention. And so can you imagine a narcissist that's been married for a long period of time and that isn't, you know, a good enough fix for him anymore, because, you know, what happens in all relationships when you've been in them for a certain period of time is the lust wears off a little. He'll go out looking for that adoration or adulation somewhere else. He may not actually have sex necessarily with that new source of supply, but it will be flirting. He will be getting his jollies off on the fact that he knows some other woman wants him, and he's more than likely going to come home and tell you about it so that he can make you jealous and make you want him more too. Normal female desire and the sexual demands of a woman actually threaten the narcissist, and they're quite frightened of them. So they will think nothing of diminishing you, humiliating you, putting you down, and actually get off on your sense of frustration. They often use the fact that you want to have sex with them to control you. And, you know, so they'll prolong it and won't have sex with you for a long time until you end up in a really bad emotional state, and then they may have sex with you, exercising that control that they have over you. So somatic narcissists are all about feeling. Cerebral narcissists are very intellectual and in their thinking minds all the time. You might find them emotionless and a little bit like a computer or an android. You know, they're not really human, they don't have any deep emotions, they don't have any empathy, and they can be quite cold. Both kinds of narcissists actually prefer masturbation than they do making love to a woman, because they're making love to the person they love the most, themselves. It's really common for both somatic and cerebral narcissists to spend long periods of time celibate. So he could be celibate in relationship with you. He could have been single for a long period of time and celibate, especially cerebral narcissists. But according to Sam Vaknin, both kind of narcissists can be celibate. So all in all, narcissists are going to hate any thought that they need a woman, and they're going to punish you for any feelings that they may have in that direction. They don't want to need you. They don't want to care about you, and they are going to do all sorts of things, manipulate you, gaslight you, brainwash you, and really mess with your head, telling you that they love you one minute and really acting like they hate you the next, because in actual fact they do hate you. They need you to adore them, so it fills up that big black hole that's inside them, but they're going to punish you for it later. So, sex with a narcissist. Yep. It will defy belief. I often have women coming to me and saying, but he masturbates, but he doesn't want to have sex with me. He was really sexy when we first got into the relationship, and now he won't have sex with me at all, and we haven't had sex for a year. All of these things are quite common and will give you another indicator of just how messed up your narcissist is. It's quite common when having sex with a narcissist that you feel that they're not there. They may be having sex with you but not actually looking at you. They may prefer a position where they don't have to look at you. It's a bit like the lights are on but nobody's home. Even though in the beginning of the relationship when they were love bombing you, it may have felt like they were present with you, they may have been putting on a really, really good act, that will go away. And you will be having sex again with, you know, an android that's just not there. And that certainly isn't the warm, loving sexual bond that most women are looking for. You know, that intimacy and emotional connection. A lot of relationships with narcissists end up being asexual. In other words, you could be married to a narcissist and he may never have sex with you. He may have even moved into a different room but still be living in the same house with you. You make him angry because he has contempt for you, and it's never going to change. It's never going to be any different. Of course, there are different types of narcissists. And it goes all the way, and I've spoken about this before, it goes all the way on a scale from people with narcissistic personality traits that they may have picked up from their life, particularly if they've had a parent that's a narcissist, and it goes all the way to what Sam Vaknin calls malignant narcissism, which we would call narcissistic personality disorder, where there's actually a mental disorder. They are broken, they cannot be fixed, and the only way for you to be happy with such a person is to get the hell away from them. I hope that's helped. Leave me a comment and like and subscribe to this video if you'd like to hear more.